Hey, welcome everyone to Coffee Talk. It is... Sorry, I'm just trying to see. Do you think you can see my breath on camera?
No,
which I'd be okay. I'd be okay with, because it's supposed to be cold. It's fall.
Yeah.
It's the week after Thanksgiving, and welcome for. We're glad you're joining us to kind of connect with what's happening at Lakeview Heights Baptist Church. And so, as is custom, we want to make sure we're taking time to look back. It was Thanksgiving. I trust we all had a good Thanksgiving. For those of you who stuck around, were with us on Sunday and were able to stay for a few minutes and have pie with us, we're glad we had that opportunity to share in time together and connect and fellowship with one another. In the service, Jeff, you were obviously preaching. We were still in Mark. We were talking thankfulness and prayer and faith, and we were chatting on the way up. You had a question for us this morning to kind of lead us into that. Why don't you hit us with that question for all of our church to kind of wrestle through a bit?
Yeah, so we talked about how thankfulness, there's so many benefits to gratitude. Science is showing a lot of those. It's just so cool that God wired us that way, that when we're thankful, we benefit. And it just seems kind of obvious to us as believers in Jesus that we'd be thankful and benefit from that. But then we talked about how thankfulness increases our faith, and the passage was all about faith and how nobody was believing Jesus. The disciples that came down the mountain couldn't believe what he was saying. The disciples with the boy with a demon weren't trusting in the right thing. They were trusting in their own ability rather than in Jesus, and recognizing that. And the crowd just was watching, and the religious leader, so everybody was kind of, and Jesus was like, "You unbelieving generation." And then he talked about how even if you have a little, he didn't say it this way, but we talked about this, how even if you have a little tiny bit of faith, as long as you put it in the source, like the Father did, I do believe, help my unbelief. We all can learn from that. Anyway, so the question was that I was just kind of contemplating for us to discuss was how have you noticed thankfulness? We talked about how thankfulness increases faith. Thankfulness is expressed through prayer, and so prayer, faith, and thankfulness grow. So how have you experienced thankfulness? How has thankfulness affected your faith?
Yeah. I think what thankfulness the way thankfulness helps me is that when I can when I am actively seeking things to be thankful for, actually then I'm more present in what God is doing in the world around me. And so it's one thing just to say, okay, I want to. I'll use maybe an example of from raising our kids, right? If I'm actually going to go, okay, today I want to find one thing to praise each of my kids for, just say, hey, you did this. Then I start looking for the good, and it's not that I ignore the things that might need correction, but actually it starts to build them up and affirm them as valuable, and as and affirms their dignity. So much in the rest of life, when I am looking for things to be grateful for, ways to say thanks to God, it actually helps me see him more at work in the world around me, doing good things, than if I'm just like grumpy and miserable and oh, look at all that junk and look at all that garbage and oh, what's this? And then I start to actually see God as less valuable in my life because I just see all the garbage, and God becomes then the one who isn't solving my problems instead of, oh God, look, you were doing that beautiful thing here, and oh man, I can't believe this happened, and I'm so grateful to you for that, and oh, look at this. And so that it has to, I guess what I'm trying to say is it has to be something we do actively, because I think if I approach my world passively, I'm going to miss so much, and I'm actually going to struggle with thankfulness. But then even just the act of, so it becomes a bit of a will. Okay, I want to be thankful for something, so how do I find something?
It's really good.
Anyways.
So what I was thinking about was how thankfulness for sure changes my attitude and my perspective. So there's an old, may or may not be true, but when Johann Sebastian Bach, when he would sit down and write a piece of music, he would often, this is a story I heard, but may or may not be true, at the top he would write Jesu Juva, which is Jesus help. And so there's that sense of reliance. And then when he got to the end of the song, then supposedly And then when he got to the end of the song, he would write the whole song, and when he got to the end, down at the very bottom, he would put SDG, Solo Deo Gloria, glory only to God, which is kind of like that sense of like, God, I need you for all these things, and I need you, and it kind of just opened that wider perspective, and that's kind of what I was thinking about in terms of what you kind of brought forward about just reliance upon God, and I think thankfulness plays into that, in that it changes my attitude, kind of like what Chris is saying. It gets me off of this narrow thing, and it gives me this wider sense of like, do you know what? Actually, everything's going to be okay. As much as I like kind of worry and fret about different things, God has all things in his hand. I give him thanks for all that is, good, bad, and everything in between. And it just kind of opens my perspective a little bit to say, thanks God, even for terrible circumstances. Thanks God, even for good things. Thanks for everything, from Jesus, please help me because I'm in trouble, to God be the glory.
Yeah. Man, those are good.
That's how I write music too, by the way.
Well, but see, even that, like the beginning part is like, is that how you should approach, like every homework assignment? Oh man, Jesus, I need your help because I'm gonna mess this whole thing up, and right?
My teachers will know why my exam said that.
Yeah, I started this at 4 a.m. and it's due at 7, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
which
I actually,
unfortunately did happen 1 or 2 nights for a large paper.
I actually do think we can come to him even in those times when we've really messed up and just say, God help with what's next, right?
Yeah.
So as funny as it is, I think it's actually true, right? I have a pastor friend who was going to be talking about prayer and unanswered prayer with his with a group, and he was like, it's really a struggle to know how to lead this discussion with unanswered prayer. And as you were talking and thinking about, if I'm focused on thanking Jesus for all that he's done, and recognizing what thankfulness helps me recognize and think through what he has done, it helps us realize that he's solved it so differently than we expected. And whatever I'm going through, he has us, right? So it helps, just kind of like if you said, everything will be okay. It won't feel okay. It won't feel like we're going to be able to make it sometimes, but he does have this, and the cross is proof of that, right? And so that's all that was coming to my mind as, well, lots was coming to my mind, but that's the most important one. So yeah, thanks.
No, good, yeah. I think it's important to remember too that thankfulness isn't just for Thanksgiving, and we say this a lot, right? Right? We celebrate the empty tomb, not just at Easter. We celebrate Christmas, not just on December 25. I mean, we come back to these themes again and again because that's the Christian faith. That the gospel is good news for every single day. And so I think that would be our continued encouragement for you, church, is that okay, Thanksgiving was last Sunday, but what today are you thankful for? And so that not just so that your faith can grow, so that we're going to be thankful so that we can get more out of it, but just so that it actually helps nurture not just our faith and our belief, but actually just our spiritual life too, and our ability to connect to the Father. And so, anyways, it's all connected is what we're trying to say. And again, a few things for you to be aware of that are going on. Friday night, the ladies are getting together in the fellowship room, so it's at the church. We have chairs. I say that because, I want to be careful and sensitive not to... we're not making fun, but there's been some questions. Do we bring a chair? Do we not bring a chair? And
the reason is?
The reason is because an early copy of the advertisement was just a copy and paste from an earlier advertisement, as this is how it was explained to me, and it went out, and it requested that you bring a chair. And so, hey, look, if you've got a favorite chair and you want to bring it, we're not going to stop you. No one, I'm not going to be there, I won't, but no one's going to make fun of you or whatever. You can do that, but you don't need to. You can just come up. There's lots of great chairs, and we'd love to have you, ladies, we'd love to have you join that. Now, here's where I'm a bad host for this. I don't know when it starts. Do either of you?
No.
All right, that's awesome. So there's a thing. It is
right
Friday. Oh, Kevin will insert it on the bottom. That's beautiful. But you already know this. We're just a simple reminder. So I'm sure you've read the bulletin, you've gotten the information. It'd be great for you to be there. That's that. Now, some life groups have begun already. Others are yet to start, right? Is there anything, Kevin, that you would want to say for those who are either, maybe not in a life group, that are wondering how to, or are wondering where that is all at? Like, what do people need to know?
And I feel like a lot of these discussions have been happening after church. People are getting interested, and I think that's really good too. But even to be able to just put your name forward, and so send your name into the office by email, phone, Twitter, whatever, doesn't matter. Contact us and carrier pigeon, whatever you need. But we would just like your name, and if you're interested, and then we will try our best to kind of connect you with a group and with a group leader, and to keep that ball moving forward, because there's really good opportunities there, and now is really the best time to jump into one before halfway through November. So join with us. It's extremely beneficial to you, especially if you're new or you're visiting or you're just getting to know people at Lakeview. It's awesome. It's so life-giving.
Wonderful.
Oh, life group.
Oh, it's almost like it's in the name. Like we planned it. That's great. Thank you for that. Anything else that people need to know this week? Those are the main things,
Just
right?
a reminder that the Christmas boxes are at the church.
Yes.
So
It's shoebox season.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, get a shoebox. We talked about it last week. You can go to a website, SamaritansPurse.ca. Is it .org? Again, it will be here. And you can go to that website if you want more information about ideas for what to pack in it, and all of that. They're not due for, we got about a month to get them back, middle of November. And so it's a great opportunity to share love and with the children on the other side of the world who otherwise would not have much of again, it's an opportunity to share a gift with kids on the other side of the world. So we encourage you to consider whether or not you'll be part of that. And I think that's it then. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us this week out here in the wilderness, and we'll connect again real soon.
And that was a nice
Hi.
Which way?
Oh, no, go on.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
sorry.
We're done. We're done. Yeah.